setting the pace, but it is number 1, Seidel, that takes the lead, heading down towards the first corner. Grassetti in second place. 15 coming through there is France, the German on the Honda. 17 going backwards and being picked off fairly easily. That was Grossau, the Austrian, on another Honda. Selection of Hondas, Yamahas, Suzukis and a handful of Kawasaki's and Ducatis involved in this Superbike race, basically for mass-produced road bikes. 4-stroke machines up to 750 cc's, 6-speed gearboxes, and producing somewhere around 146 to 150 brake horsepower. That means that they're capable on this track at Most in Czechoslovakia of somewhere around about 170 miles an hour, very top speed. Gap opening up already. Seidel, who is the championship leader, from the man who's riding bike number 3, machine number 3, Richard Arnaiz, who is an American but who's riding in Europe with an Italian license. So it's in terms of the championship, Seidel, who at the moment has control with this round, then San Marino and Donington in September to come. Oh, nice. Manley is in 3rd place in the championship. Steve Manley, the British rider from Clacton-on-Sea on the Yamaha. 6th place in qualifying. Number 3 there on ice, the American that we were talking about, tucked in behind him. What a forbidding figure of France from Germany. That makes sense in the Honda. Here is a thunder round Most, that it really is quite an industrial part of Czechoslovakia. It's a region which is northwest of Prague, really, heading up towards the old East German border, towards places like Karl-Marx-Stadt and Dresden. There's France. Black and white leathers. A rather strange, ordinary-looking Honda. Manley behind France. These two just seemingly content just to get a feel of the track surface, not doing anything too over-ambitious at the moment. Oh, nice going through after Seidel. Sven Seidel and Richard Arnaiz leading the way. Seidel riding for Suzuki Deutschland. 3, 15 and 2, which is Arnaiz, France and Manley. That's 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Seidel out on his own. These 3 doing the chasing. ...28 laps. Coming up to about a 7th distance now. Fair amount of rubber already laid down on this track. It's not hot at Most for the race, but fairly warm. Good conditions for bike racing. Armati, number 4, going through at the back of that group, which was not disputing 2nd place, but was in contention for it, certainly. But a nice track surface, giving them a reasonable amount of grip, and they're perfectly capable of providing us with some fair old entertainment throughout this 28-lap race. There's our knights, France, Manley, Armati. So that's 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th going through there. see that Sven Seidel has a quite considerable lead. Concentrating on the leader at this stage of the race, the interesting battle is going to come for these places immediately behind. Seidel chuttering along in front and quite happy to set his own pace. The rest of them waiting for him to make a mistake. It looks as though it's either that or a mechanical problem which is going to afflict him. Two seem to have just caught up a touch as they go into that right-hander. The American with the Italian license on ice is starting to drop the rest of them, and he's going out after Seidel. He's going to make sure that Seidel doesn't have too commanding a lead for the later stages of the race. Dispute first place rather than wait for the rest of them to argue with him over second. About 5,000 spectators here for this race. Disappointing attendance really in Czechoslovakia, but presumably they've got other things to occupy them just at the moment. The attendance will be a bit bigger in years to come. Seidel out in front. Oh, Nice is out after him. France leads this group. Manley is quite neatly there in fourth place, but he too is going to come under pressure from Simul. And Harmati, the Italian on the Honda, looks as though he will probably have a few words to say about it as well. The power station in the background been smoking away throughout the afternoon. Make for a pretty smoggy atmosphere. Probably a good place to hold a noisy old bike meeting as far as the Greens are concerned. They'll be quite content. Can't see all the mining, all the industry, power stations, smoke, smog and noise, put it all together and let everybody get on with it. Seidel, the Suzuki Deutschland rider, and right up with him now. On ice, he's up there with him. Then come the rest of them. They're just really just hanging on by the shirt tails because there's not much that they can do about the battle for the lead. France has decided that he'd better go out and try and drop these guys who are coming up behind him, Simul, Harmati and Manley. Manley currently in third place in the championship, number 2. Just in front of him is Simul, and right on his tail is Harmati. Harmati, the Pao Bay Honda rider. Number 4 there. Manley, number 2. Essex rider, been around for a fair old time. Starting to make real impression in the European Championship motorcycle racing. He's been talked about as a GP prospect. Now then, what's going to happen here? Because they are disputing Sven Seidel, which is on ice. Now disputing first place on ice, making a big challenge for the lead. France is tucked in there, and he's got alongside him. Can he get through? He can. Easily and smoothly executed that manoeuvre with no problems at all. And Seidel, who'd had things pretty much his own way for about a quarter of the race, suddenly finds that he's watching the rear wheel of Richard Arnights. The question really is whether Seidel can battle his way back into contention in this race, because Arnights looks as though he was pretty determined to take first place, having got the bike warmed up and felt that he was in a position to get past Seidel, take first place, managed it comfortably and easily. So, Arnights leads, Seidel is second, France is third, Halmati was ahead of Manley, with Seymour coming along in sixth place. And further down the order, we've lost the Czech rider on the Suzuki, Victor Hunek, he's gone out. Ferracci from France on the Ducati's gone out. And Luciana, Frenchman on the Honda, they've all dropped out. They didn't qualify particularly well. So no surprise that they're by the wayside already. Arnights from Seidel. France, the man with the watching brief, as it were, just in third place. I wonder if he's going to be able to do anything about picking up another position, because Seidel, although he's tracking Arnights, the problem with being in second place is that you always try something a little bit too risky to get past and reclaim your original position. France can wait. He's in fourth place in the championship. No chance of taking the title. It's basically between Seidel and Arnights, as it has been for most of the season. Manley comes into contention as well. But 2 rounds to go after this. And the 2 most impressive riders in the championship so far have been Seidel and Arnights. Two rounds. The first one is at San Marino early in August, and the second one is at Donington Park up there in the Midlands in September, right at the end of September, September the 30th. So 2 rounds of the Superbike Championship to go, but only 1 to go of the 125s that we saw earlier. That's in Italy in October, so a fair old time for them to wait before they get their championship sorted out. Arnights going through, Seidel in second place, France in third. Big 750cc bikes. Basically the sort of bikes that you could pick up from any motorcycle showroom. All that they've done here is just fine-tune them a little bit, take a few parts off which you don't need on racing tracks. You do need on road-going bikes. See just how sparse the crowd is for this. See, very disappointed the organisers that more people haven't turned up for this event. All sorts of problems that they have in Czechoslovakia at the moment, obviously, but one of the things that you thought they might have done was turn out on a Sunday afternoon to see a bit of motorcycle racing and take their minds off a few of the other difficulties which they've got. There's Arnights going through. They've come up towards half distance in this 28-lap race. Remember that it's round the Most circuit northwest of Prague in Czechoslovakia. Just over 2.5 miles each lap, 2.58, 4.15 kilometers. And the American who rides with the Italian license now controlling the race. He's under a touch of pressure from Sven Seidel, the Suzuki Deutschland rider. But Seidel not looking as though he's actually got the inclination to get alongside him and elbow his way through and reclaim first place that he held for the first quarter of the race or so. So as we come up to the halfway point, it's Arnights from Seidel, with France in third place and the Briton Steve Manley in fourth. This round of the European Superbike Championship building up towards a fascinating climax. The leaders, Seidel and Arnights, in among the back markers. They've got to pick their way through. They've been lapping at fastest speed of somewhere around about 154, 155 kilometers an hour, going around this 2.5 mile circuit in 1.5 minutes. 1:36 is actually the fastest time, so just slightly slower than 1.5 minutes. So far, Richard Arnice hasn't put a foot wrong, and even though Sven Seidl has occasionally got up onto his tail, he hasn't been able to exert enough pressure on him to be able to get through. Seidl in second place, France in third, and Manley in fourth. The British rider Steve Manley, who is in third place in the championship, is actually in fourth place on the road here, and looks as though he will preserve that championship position with 2 rounds to go, San Marino, and then back in front of his home spectators at Donington at the end of September. There is another British rider as well as Manley in the field. The field started off with 26 riders, 29 starters. There are only the 3 of them have dropped out now, so there's 26 left in. And the other British rider to look out for, number 39, who's well back in the pack, Peter Graves. He's in about 16th or 17th position and unlikely to challenge this man for the lead. In fact, it's difficult to see who actually is going to take it off him, unless he makes a mistake among these back markers. There's number 3, Richard Arnice, and behind him, Sven Seidl, number 1, German rider on the Suzuki. 28 laps in all, so we're into the final third of the race. Back markers sensibly moving off the racing line, but now if Arnice can get it right through the twiddly bits, then he just might be able to keep the back markers between himself and Seidl and pick up a few precious seconds, give him a bit of a cushion for later in the race. He just might need it. The race has been pretty hard on tyres and indeed on fuel. Might play a part later in the race. 28 laps, grueling high-speed chase through this industrial area of Czechoslovakia. Riders are certainly going to know that they've been in a race at the end of it. It's not just an easy track round, it's not just a flying fast circuit. Some good fast straight bits, but also some nice challenging low gear corners too. A nice sweep through, lean well over to the left, get the power on, and then slow for the little left and the right. That's where Seidl gets the chance just to close up on Arnice a little bit. But Arnice has played this well. He's opened up the gap considerably. Seidl closes up again on the slow corners, but Arnice has got the power to get away from him. And if Seidl is ever going to do it, then he's going to have to do it in one of the slow corners to show a bit of courage and a bit of daring. But Arnice is playing a pretty good game at the moment. Right, he leads, Seidl is second. France is still in third place, the German on the Honda. Then comes Steve Manley. And after him, it's Harmati and Simul. Looking down the Superbike Championship, and that's more or less the championship order. Seidl, Arnice, Manley, France, Harmati, that's the first 5. Opens it out again, comes down that straight over the start-finish line in front of the pits. Back markers getting mixed up with the leaders. Bit of racecraft here from Arnice could be useful. Seidl has seen what could happen and is making sure that as fast as Arnice carves through the back markers, he does the same. Glorious shot there of the Honda as Arnice leans it over, cranks it over to the left, then to the right again. riding superbly, really puts the power on to thunder past that back marker there. Jan Groot from Holland, number 51. Sweeping back into sight again. There's the championship leader on the Suzuki. One man touring through and wisely keeping his eyes trained on what's coming up behind him. Because how often have we seen that a rider who's in trouble, in mechanical trouble, and going extremely slowly, especially on a track where you saw there where they come over a brow and then suddenly come on to see a rider in trouble on the racing line in the track, just flying along, thinking that everybody's going to be quick enough to avoid him, and they don't. Harmati and Manley. Harmati getting ahead of Manley, so Manley getting bunched in there and dropping a place as the Halbei Suzuki rider, Halbei Honda rider rather, gets in front of him. So Manley will be a bit disturbed by that. He's going to maintain his championship challenge. He really wants to finish third or fourth. But at the moment, Harmati has got the beat on him, tucks down there behind the fairing. Manley pulls up alongside him, and out of sight, Manley beats him to the corner. So having swapped positions once, they now swap back again. Manley suddenly shaken into life there by the sudden appearance of Harmati up alongside him and then in front of him. Seymour down there in 6th place, making sure that he's going to finish with a few points. Can't let these two get out of his sights too far ahead of him. I don't think Manley at this stage can really harbour any ambitions of going after Seidel and our Knights, or maybe even France, who's in 3rd place. A long, hard chase for him to do that. I think that he might well have to settle for 4th place. Around in front of the paddock. 125 paddock there, just on the right-hander. Steve Manley, the young man from Essex, Clacton-on-Sea. Big admirer of the England cricket captain Graham Gooch. So from the same part of the world. Going through, Steve Manley from Harmati. Seymour right in behind them. Harmati's got to push Manley all the way, but he looks pretty composed, Manley. Looks as though he can handle it. Again, the back marker in front of him. At this stage, you see, Manley will be thinking, how can he use that back marker most effectively? He's actually got to get past him in such a position that he can then put the back marker between himself and Harmati is slowed behind the back marker, and Manley can accelerate away, leaving Harmati with plenty of work to do. On this occasion, it doesn't work at all. Sweeping round right-hander, then wheels cranks the bike over for the right. Then adjusts the position on the seat for the left-hander again. So all the time these riders shifting around all over the seat of their bike, making sure that the balance is right. It's a very, very fine margin of error. And the slightest mistake and they're off. Wind getting up, and that too can be disturbing for bike riders. The wind hammering down one of the straights, and it's quite easy for the front wheel under power to lift up, and they've got a real problem of control. But at the moment, Manley looking composed enough to be able to hold off Harmati. Harmati just having a look at the inside there, but the opportunity to go past wasn't there. Didn't get the power on, didn't have the room. He's obviously not given up. As though our Knights has going considerably quicker than Seidel at the front of the field. And France is on its own in third place. So those three places appear to be neatly wrapped up. Now just this battle for 4th, 5th and 6th. Nobody'd be surprised to see the order here reversed. Harmati going past Manley and Seymour sweeping past the pair of them. It seems that if Harmati can spot the place to overtake, grab the opportunity, then he could pick off Manley. But Manley's riding a great race at the moment. Not getting flustered. Keeping his composure, thinking all the time about what he can do, how to attack the race, keep the riders behind him under control, not let them through, hold tight to the racing line, and at the same time not make any silly mistakes like putting on too much power coming out of a slow corner. It could be disastrous. Manley, Harmati, Seymour, 4th, 5th, 6th. Order hasn't changed for 2 or 3 laps. Just get the impression that it could do it any second. Slightest mistake, one of them will pounce. Noticeable as you look round the circuit here at Moss that there's very, very little advertising at all compared with some of the Western circuits. We see them absolutely plastered with hoardings and advertising signs all the way around. Here, just very, very few. Like a very old-fashioned motorcycle race meeting. Something just post-war. Flags being waved. Riders about to overtake. Back markers here all cluttered up together. See there that Manley and Harmati. There's the battle for the lead, and Seidel and our Knights still going at it as the rest of them behind thread through those back markers who were all grouped together. That gave them a bit of a problem for a while, but Manley is now back full up at racing speed. Harmati is right on his tail. He's not let him get away at all. As they go hammering past Jošković, who's a Yugoslavian. Manley still leading. Seems to be going quicker and quicker. Harmati is staying with him. They look as though they're dropping Seymour back. Remember that this is the battle for 4th and 5th. Manley currently holding 4th place, 3rd in the championship, and needing these points if he's going to maintain his challenge over the last 2 rounds. Certainly wants to still be going to Donington with a chance of finishing well up in the championship order. Probably won't be able to win it unless the other 2 fall off and score no points at all. But he still got a chance of doing well. Now then, there's the 2 leaders. They've been fighting all the way through, holding on to that 1st and 2nd place. First it was Seidel in control, then it was our Knights. Looked as though he'd got it in the bag completely. With him, and Seidel goes past him. Well, a problem there for Richard R. Knights, because he suddenly slowed. Seidel sensed that immediately and was through and passed, and he's out on his own. There's obviously some sort of problem for R. Knights on the Honda, because he's going very slowly indeed on this, the penultimate lap. Heading for the checkered flag now, Seidel. And whatever it was that afflicted our Knights, it was probably an intermittent fuel problem, something like that, which has meant that he's fallen back. He's got no chance of taking Seidel before the checkered flag, even if that problem rectifies itself, because Seidel is suddenly, the Suzuki Deutschland rider, has stolen the lead again after looking like having to settle for 2nd place after a terrific ride from our Knights. Well, various theories about what could have happened to him, but that sort of intermittent fuel problem seems to be one idea. Gearbox problem is another. But whatever it was, it's given Seidel the chance to head for the checkered flag. And he can do it in complete ease. Doesn't have to worry about our Knights at all, because he just has got no chance of catching it. All of a sudden, our Knights, looking in total control of the race, loses it. There's the checkered flag for Sven Seidel. Terrific win for him. He's delighted. Unfortunate that Richard R. Knights had that problem at the end and couldn't capitalise on all the good work that he's gone before. France comes home in third place. A good ride from him without ever really challenging for the lead. Steve Manley holding on to fourth. Looking down the order, Simul, after looking as though he could challenge Manley and Harmati for fourth or fifth, fell back. Grassetti in seventh place, and Lindholm, who is seventh in the championship. Lindholm moves up to sixth in the championship as a result of picking up 10th place there at Most in Czechoslovakia. Seidel, the Superbike championship leader, 7 points ahead of Richard R. Knights, the American riding with the Italian license, and Steve Manley in third place, still with a chance of going for that coveted European Superbike title. France in fourth, Harmati in fifth, but 2 rounds to go now. San Marino and then Donington Park. It looks as though it could go to the wire.